usually for my podcast, I've been slacking, I have this other one called Two Shades of Brown that I do with my friend Kenny, but I want to get back on this one, be
Nice.
solo. And you notice I got your artwork back here. Do I call you Max or do you want me to go by
Yeah,
Marisol?
no, Max is perfect. I'm Max, and yeah, Marisol's a project, so it's all good.
Yeah, I know. I was doing a lot of research and I was like, dang, I don't know what to do on this one. But sweet, but you've done the art pieces or the artwork for cards 27 through 29 through the Curio Cards NFT of my Curio Cards.
Yep.
And I just like to introduce Max, the artist. And I just a quick background on me. On my birthday on August 24th this year, I just tweeted out, I tweeted to, on the same tweet I did, Logan Paul, FaZe Banks, and then Gary V. Not in that certain order, but
Nice.
I just tweeted them and I'm like, hey, would you any of you guys gift me an NFT for my birthday? And then Gary V, he tweeted at me, he's like, is it your birthday today? And I was like, actually, it's tomorrow. Because I didn't want to lie. I just don't want to say, yeah, of course, give me it. So he's like, remind me tomorrow with your ETH address and I'll keep in touch. I was like, all right. So then tomorrow, the next day, I send him it. And then about like a half hour later in the morning on my birthday, he presented me with your card. And like,
Holy shit,
you're
that's
my
so
first
awesome.
NFT ever. I didn't know really anything about NFT. Now I've been like obsessed with it and just doing all this research and stuff.
I was a little scared that you're like I aped in and bought it because I was gonna be like, oh yeah, like I don't know if that's a good idea, man. Because like if you're like, no, I saved up all my money and I bought this
buy,
one
buy one
one
piece.
and it's yours. So if it crashes, like I'm coming after you,
Oh, geez. Has
No.
that happened to you before?
I mean, with no, it hasn't. I mean, early crypto projects for sure. Like people have
Yeah.
gotten resentful of like certain people running stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't. No, no, no.
Yeah, I
We're
can't
good. We're
imagine.
good.
I don't I don't know that much about the art space to begin with, and then the NFT like space. So like I can't imagine like how I'm sure it's a good community and stuff, but I'm sure it could get like the music industry or anything, it could get intense at sometimes.
Yeah, the biggest problem with like crypto projects is that people think they're investing, but it's just like a gamble. You're like, who knows if like other people are going to come in and want to be part of the community? Because that's what you're gambling on. You're like, is this going to blow up? Is everyone going to be into Doge, like so like there's people that are like selling the tokens at the beginning,
Yeah,
but like are those founders going to offload all their stuff and just ruin the price for the it's the same thing with NFTs. Like the price is going to go up and down as a lot of the early holders are like getting those out there and distributing their NFTs. But I think there is a resentment when they see the founders' addresses just you know dropping dropping hella cheap
yeah,
tokens or whatever it is. So yeah, it'll come up, but don't invest in don't invest in these things. They're not investments. It's you're just supporting an artist. You're just
yeah.
supporting a community.
And then for NFTs too, it's kind of different too. Like you actually get like some royalties at least for your art after you sell it, right? In a way, on some of them.
Yeah, yeah. So in the traditional world, it's never been beneficial to a deceased artist family. So, like, let's say you do
Uh,
magically become famous and rich, your family will never get a cut out of those future sales. But now, like with NFTs, they have like perpetual income associated with whatever accounts it's going to. So you literally could like pass control of that wallet to someone else, and then as those things are getting resold, then the artist will get a percent out of it forever.
that's cool.
Um,
That's really
unless
smart.
there's a private sale, like the thing coming up at Christie's, like we don't get a cut out of that,
Okay.
in the traditional model because it's a private, person to person sale essentially.
Yeah. Oh well, speaking of Christie's auction too, just from like you as being an artist, are you excited to see like your artwork on the Christie's auction, or have you had your artwork before on Christie's?
Oh man, no, I mean it's such a, oh man, here I'll tell you a crazy story. So I studied and I was in college for a really, really long time. I don't even want to say how long, but
Hey, I
um,
did college for like 5 minutes, and then I was
well, I just kind of hung out because it was just a cool place to hang out and meet people and learn stuff. And I just kind of like just just I loved it, and then I got to a point where I'm like, I need to focus on something, and eventually I got a couple degrees, but my highest terminal degree is in fine art printing. So I have a fine art printmaking degree. Um, and yeah, while studying there, I focused mostly on like social engagement and different types of artwork that are more like community focused. But I remember thinking back then, like, oh my God, it was probably one of these days I was like smoking a lot of weed, like, sitting on the couch watching cartoons. But I literally had this idea. I'm like, I saw something about Christie's, like they're selling like antiques or like some famous work of art. I'm like, holy shit, if I could get to Christie's one day, like after I'm dead, it would be like I made it as an artist. So I
Cool.
actually had that thought back then. I remember this super clearly, like whoa, like one day I'll be able to do that, but probably not during my lifetime. Because I'd made so many works of art. Like I'm like statistically, one of them has to do something.
Yeah.
But then um, yeah, just to be able to experience that in my lifetime is so fucking crazy. I can't believe it, man. Like it's really overwhelming. And my friends are like look at me differently. They're like, "Oh, like you're gonna be auctioned by Christie's." Like, what? Like for
Yeah.
real? It's like Banksy's
Kind of adds to like
Banksy's been
your
there. Yeah.
legacy of just
Oh man. Yeah, and all the projects I've done, I never tried to sell or make like tons of money off of. There's been like there've been themes around money and currency and value of human interaction. So I have these like themes around it, but it's never been to like primarily like I'm not trying to make a piece of art to put on a wall to sell. Like I'm not. That's just not me.
okay.
I've done it for other people, for like a side gig, like side hustle. I've definitely worked for galleries and museums, and like I know kind of that stuff, but it just feels kind of gross to just primarily just try to pump the price, kind of like there's and most of the major artists out there, it's all about just the economy of their work and things
Okay.
like that. So Christie's is awesome. The and we'll see. That's the old world model of like middlemanning art, but in this new model, like we just talked about, of the artist getting a cut, you know,
Yeah.
is there a healthy balance? Like how does that feel like for future artists? What does that look like? Where like wait a second, look, why would we use this antiquated system as a middleman when we can just sell directly to our customers? It's a
Yeah.
person to person interaction.
That's true. I guess it's like in music too, like when they give out a song, it's not really theirs anymore, the artist. I feel like the company actually holds it and stuff. And then they produce it, it's like they get big, but they might not get all that money. Or but at least I guess the recognition, I guess they know. I guess as Marisol, right? How do you say
Yeah.
the last name
Yeah,
too?
Marisol Vengas.
How did that happen?
Oh man, okay, I'll tell you the real story. Shit, I was gonna keep it for a little bit longer, but
Oh, or I guess the first question too.
yeah, go ahead.
Um, why? I guess would it leak into of what you're about to say is did you want to be anonymous like for a while?
It wasn't like it was just kind of anonymous on the internet, and it's because I'm like I just have a lot of hobbies and a lot of different skill sets
Okay.
that I've pursued. And at the time, well, there's a couple reasons. At the time, I was doing a lot of consulting, and when people would Google my name and profile me, I didn't want like 100 art projects coming up. So during that time, so I was doing consulting and like everything from web design, graphic design, sales, marketing, like just like all sorts of different things. And I one time one of my clients found some of my photos that I'd taken on Flickr or some website, and I'm like they were asking me about it in kind of a negative way, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is interfering. Like they kind of use it against me. Like, how do I know you're not just like an artist and like you
Ah,
don't, it was a weird interaction, and so I started doing lots of aliases. So one and there's probably over a dozen solid ones, and then some aliases have like a one-off piece, or I just have a project name and no artist associated with them. So I have like a pretty substantial amount of those, and I'm going to slowly release those in conjunction with the Marisol series.
Okay.
just because it's a kind of a well-known name in the in our small community, but it'll get some exposure to other projects which are much more interesting, I think. But so the reason I was anonymous was partially because of that, but also in school, um, I, as I was finishing up my degree, that was like around my last year of my bachelor's of fine arts degree in printing, and there was a lot of frustrations because like they would pigeonhole us into like a certain category. So like if you're wanting to study art, you couldn't just do like a general art degree at a higher level. You have to be like really specific. It'd be printmaking, sculpture, ceramics.
Oh, wow.
There was like a electronic arts one. What else was there? Was one or something else too. I can't remember. But anyway, so you would have to go into go into it through that way. And I'm like, I had such a problem with that because I had all these ideas that couldn't fit into one of those mediums. And so I started making artwork that was the opposite, where I would pick the idea and then start picking the tools to make that idea happen. And I got super influenced by using alternative venues as art venues. So I would like show stuff at Walmart. I would like literally drop products into Walmart and be like, go buy my product at Walmart and like, put other barcodes on them and stuff. And I have a whole bunch of art pieces around that concept. And I use that, it wasn't a political statement. It's more like a social interaction between me, future consumers and friends who could participate in these projects. And most of the more interesting projects I did in school were based around those themes, but it wasn't accessible to school. So one of these was Marisol Vengas, and Marisol in this piece, I was really interested in like kind of like a mass production situation where friends can come together and basically like make parts and pieces, but not necessarily even understand the whole process. And I was kind of like more the stage director in this. So I'd go to the coffee shop and friends would come in just randomly. They'd be like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Oh, we're coloring." And they would just like start coloring in these things or like, "What are you trying to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I kind of have this like I'm making some art pieces. Do you want to be part of the project? Do you want to contribute to it in some way?" And so then we would like, so I have this whole like algorithm of how these pieces are created. So the Marisol pieces is not necessarily about the physical like actual piece, which is like praised in like academics and like all these other things. It's more about the performative interaction between this group of people that is having an experience. So Marisol Vengas is actually an experience, and then the physical pieces that come out of it is actually a residue from that, and then the NFT is basically like a, a representation of that. So
Extension of it almost too.
yeah, it's extension of it, but it puts it in a certain place and time, and it's just yeah, and I come from a computer science background too, so I was really interested in like algorithms and like how to do things in the real world first before actually like programming them. So I've yet to program or find someone to develop this algorithm to produce these Marisol pieces autonomously. But it's essentially, yeah, the whole process is, I batch process like tons of images and like printed them out on like kind of like low quality paper, had people color them in. There's a whole, I don't necessarily need to go through the whole process on here, but it kind of interfered with the stuff that I was learning in school, because in printmaking you're using like higher end quality products. It's all about the individual. You're getting assessed on your individual capabilities. You're having a private show where you put like your rectangles of art in a white box. So there's a format for how tradition is carried through that process, and it just it was very different than this type of thing where I'm using like lowest quality materials. The people that have all the originals will know how cheap they are. I'm literally making them with styrofoam and like transparency paper that I found in like a dumpster, and like I literally like pieced together a laser printer and like found some toner and filled up the cartridges myself, and like
Wow.
I was looking for the cheapest way to make those work. So and then they all have the original prices on them too, and they're like $10 or
Wow.
$20, and like it's just funny to think that they could go for um like half an Ethereum a piece or something now. It's just like this is so crazy. Like, just for the originals though, I'm hooking up all the a lot of the community members who hold my pieces.
Okay. When did you get too into like the cryptocurrency world too? Have you always been?
Oh man, yeah, I wasn't really public about this for the longest time, but yeah, I got in like really bizarrely early.
Okay.
Um, I had made my own currency in 2007,
Oh wow.
and it was called viral monetary units. So it was I made actually I was kind of like like have like a model for an economy. It's not even just like paper money, but it's paper money that is in like different denominations, beer, coffee, and food. And these notes, you could actually like try to get someone to accept them. And you could say, hey, if you give me a coffee, I'll give you one of these notes. And then the person who accepted it would fill out the back of it, and then they would send it to my bank, and then I would send them 3 times the value. So like coffee was 100 viral monetary units or VMUs, beer was 200 VMUs, and food or meal is 500. So if someone like sent me a coffee note in the mail, then I would send them back like maybe I'd just send them like 2 beers, which is 400. So it's basically it's a gift giving economy, and the notes were more used as like the quantification of it. And that was a major project. I gave away about like 60,000 of these paper notes and stacks of 100 conferences, and like sent them to artists. I traded with a ton of artists, but that led to me getting into Bitcoin extremely early, like when there was still just like command line with no validation, and like yeah, it was a really trippy thing, and I kind of thought, like, to be completely honest, I thought Bitcoin was a joke, because my project was like comical and kind of a joke too. And then when I saw the actual software someone made it, I'm like, whoa, they're taking this joke pretty far. And then even when I saw like,
Getting serious.
the early exchanges, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Like this is turning real. Like, um, it's it. Yeah, I'm still pretty still blown away by that whole experience. But yeah, it was fun to get into it and not be like an investor or a speculator. Like I got into it because I was more of like an artist versus a um, you know investor speculator.
When you're at that time too, did you ever think of like selling your art for cryptocurrency and stuff?
I have in those days I wasn't necessarily motivated to do that. I mean, I uh, sold some things on the internet back then, if you know what I mean, and had some friends that were really into that. But I was more into, yeah, not so much into selling my art. I, there's some other money projects that I did that, but not necessarily connecting to Bitcoin. I was mostly really interested, and I still am, in the educational fundamentals. So I love just showing like how the shit works, how it can change people's lives, how it
Mm.
can add value to communities. I'm never trying to be like buy it or sell it. Like I don't even want to be that person, because like I don't like I'd feel so bad if people like lost their money or
Yeah,
so I just more am like I gave thousands and thousands of lessons to people, everything from EOS to Wax to Ethereum and Bitcoin, mostly on the modern blockchains, and that's what I've been working on full time the last few years, is
okay.
educational stuff, but also how to engage communities with this technology.
Did you ever want to be something else than an artist when you were younger?
Um,
Or do you feel like you were always wanted to be like an artist and this was
I
your
don't,
passion?
I don't know, man. I don't even know if I'm an artist yet. So I'm in an art studio, um, but I'm kind of doing it for fun. It's like it was more just to kind of relax and decompress.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think I'm more um, like, how do I say? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I just like tinkering with stuff. I had like a bunch of hobbies, and um, yeah. I mean,
But,
I would say, yeah.
oh, where did you grow up if you don't mind?
I grew up in a lot of different spots. I was born in Hawaii and
Okay.
in Maui. But I lived a bunch of different spots. I got to like actually travel a lot in um, I lived in Kenya and Tanzania, and like so I've lived in a bunch of different locations, and
Oh
I
wow.
live, yeah, right now I'm mostly in Chico, California, but I travel a lot too. So um,
Okay, I feel like too with traveling, that's where all your like creative skills can get the
oh
juices
yeah,
flowing and stuff. You just seeing all this. I'm sure you're like very cultured now too. I feel
yeah, in some ways, probably not in others, but
you
yeah, I
watched.
feel super lucky, definitely.
This is kind of off topic in a way, but have you watched uh the new movie Candyman, the reboot?
No, no, I
They,
haven't seen it yet.
I was kind of interested though because they did a lot of the concept too. The main guy was an artist and he was painting and stuff, and that was how it, that's how they like introduced Candyman in the newest movie. Like they were painting and stuff. So I was just like a artwork, and it was kind of cool because it just because your studio just kind of doesn't exactly resemble his, but it's kind of cool how you just a big old open space and it's your world and you can kind of like paint whatever you want in your space or just get creative.
Oh man, yeah, it's interesting because I most of my works that I did are around like community and like engagement. Um, it's like most art speaks one direction to the person viewing it, and they're almost separate from the process. And I feel like there's a lot of concepts that are more aligned with like the artist being like a genius, and the genius is being like unaccessible and kind of in their own like sphere of influence, and like they're an oracle. And I'm
Oh,
like, I don't really think of myself as that. I don't want to be that. Um, I rather make and this is a preference thing, and a lot of people interpret this as being right or wrong, or like I see it a certain like this is right or this is wrong, but it's not like that. It's just saying like I prefer art that the person consuming the art and the person who is part of it is actually part of the creation of it, of the process. So basically it's a multi-directional, it's a two-way directional communication. So rather than like standing at the art and like looking at it and be like, what does it mean, and then you have to wait and have that feedback mechanism to happen. The artist doesn't know what the people are thinking. It's like it's just a different style of work. It's another category of where art can be. So I think adding those different layers and those different processes of communication, you see that with a lot of like NFTs now. There's a remix type culture where things like recursively get better, and like people are like, oh well, I'm gonna make a bootleg of that one, which is awesome. Like at one point we used to think that like bootlegs were bad, but now you see
yeah,
like a different, you see like a bored ape holding a Curio card. How fucking cool is that?
that'd be cool.
Like people are doing things like that. And I think I even saw that. Yeah, and then you see, people changing elements and appropriating it for their own communities, and that's another way to gain the network effect. Dropping on that previous community, and you're like, then now you have a whole nother like club of people that love your shit, and they want to like support you. And so yeah, I see like that social engagement going that direction. As far as just like my regular, just like I like to get messy and like just get, I for some reason I'm like really obsessed with like glitter and drips of paint right now. And it's not like, and I'm not trying to analyze anything. I'm just getting messy and weird, and like, might smoke a bowl or something and trip out and just like pour some paint around. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like I get to do this. And so I've been doing that for a few years in the studio space. And sometimes I'll like play with some camera gear and like stream it out, but there's no expectations of me. There's no product. It's just an experience I'm going through. And I love it so much. I'm going to find a way how to share that experience with other people, and maybe have them be part of that process too at some point. But yeah, as it's, it's mostly, I don't think that that type of stuff necessarily even has to have a social component to it. It's just like, just just enjoy it, like see what this is about. Like don't be so consumed with like ever having a product in mind,
Okay.
um and I mean, if I was going to give advice to a future artist, it's like, yeah, just fucking get messy and be like, what does it feel like to like be covered in paint and just like, tripping out on something like just, I don't know.
My friend had a crazy story of like when he was tripping out, he had lights sync to the music and he just looked at the wall. Just like it just I guess it was just an amazing experience.
Nice. Oh man, yeah, I got these like color changing LEDs in here, and
Oh,
it's
that's
it
good.
it just adds another dimension to the art. And like, so I think for me it's more like creating experiences for myself. That's the most of the art I'm working on now. Um, but yeah, I think, with this Curio card success, I'm going to be making more Marisol pieces for sure.
Okay, so you're
I
good.
and I yeah, and I can't talk about like the main thing that's coming up,
Yeah.
but for sure I'm making some like awesome like it'll be a seventh series, and for Curio, Curio card holders are going to be very excited about what's going to happen. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And then how did you get in contact with the Curio cards? Are you like, did you know about the process about it, like
Yeah, it
beforehand?
was. Yeah. I can get into that. So, a very good friend is Thomas Hunt, Mad Bitcoins,
Okay.
and he's one of the founders of the project. And I've known him for much longer than Bitcoin's been around. Um, and he contacted me. He's like, "Hey, do you have any art?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I got some art. Like, what's going on, man?" He's like, "Oh, we're gonna do some like digital asset art stuff," and I'm like, "Oh man, like yeah, sign me up." Like because I already knew about it, about digital assets on the blockchain from Counterparty, and I'd done stuff on like BitShares. I've minted my own assets on there. I did a meme coin on there called Poops, PEWPS. Anyway, I have like a shitload of them still. I think it might be the
Nice.
first, it actually might be the first shitcoin. Maybe the first airdrop too. I airdropped into all the rich lists. So I'd done some of this stuff and like engage these communities. And the communities weren't extremely active back then. So
Yeah.
there was just like very few people doing this shit. Um, and yeah, so he asked me, and I submitted some art, and I made the cut.
Yeah,
Just got-
that's
yeah.
cool.
And that's how I got involved, and it kind of the project just like disappeared after like a couple months, and I'm like didn't think much about it.
Okay.
And I would check the site, and it looks like I still had cards on there for sale, and then I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I find out like in March that and I didn't get any cards. Like they didn't give us any cards, or like I didn't even know like necessarily how to buy them. I kind of I went to the interface on like a Dex or something to buy them, and I'm like, why the fuck would I spend money on gas? It's like $1. Like,
Eh,
why would I spend like a? And I'm like, why would I buy my own art for $1? Like,
get
this
your
is
own,
stupid.
buy
Like,
back your own art.
yeah, yeah. So I didn't buy any of my cards. I didn't buy anyone else's cards. So guess how many cards I had? Zero.
Jeez.
And yeah, then March came along, and things started picking back up, and I'm like, I need to get some. Like I started getting FOMO. I found out the
Ah,
project was starting to come back, and I'm like, oh man, like I need to get some of these things. So what I did is I minted the other. I basically like reminted the image from those curios, but higher quality. I had it on file,
okay.
and then I minted the. I went through a lot of the Series 6 images, and I essentially minted those on the Wax blockchain. And I'll hook you up with some of those too for hosting the interview. Um,
Oh,
but
appreciate
I essentially minted those and then used those as kind of like collateral to get some of my old cards. And I was
it.
only
Oh,
trying to get some of my own. And people were like trying to donate them to me and shit. And I'm like, dude, I can't take them. Like, I don't want to be like an artist that just gets like handouts. I'm like, trade me for my new ones, or
that's
trade me for originals. So I had this huge box of originals that I bought back. And I had a bunch of shows that I kind of like forgot about and like left them somewhere. So I got all my originals back, and started trading those too for some of those Curio cards. So I'm almost done with that. I have just like maybe like a half dozen left to sell for ETH or trade for other stuff. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history. I finally got some of my own, which feels good.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the community. Yeah, it's amazing where things are going, man. I'm just really blown away. It's pretty overwhelming too, like being in the front of it.
And what was the story behind 27 through 29? Like, as in, like, I know like 1 through 10 has like a background of what they are, like represent.
Yeah, the best explanation is that the content is irrelevant. It's about this performance that occurred, and it doesn't. To me, it represents community engagement. So it's like the pinnacle of art, in my opinion, is
Okay.
actually having like a dialectic or having like a multi-directional conversation in which the viewer is on the same level as the artist versus being in some type of hierarchy. So
Speaking of community too, like the Discord's really special because like I could just like legit just talk to you right now, like reach out to the artist of the pieces, or like it's kind of cool. I could just like, or even like talk to the owner. Like if you can't do that with like Apple or Nike or like any other, like they don't have a Discord to have. Like this is like a crazy.
yeah.
The NFT space is really like special. I feel like it's a
Yeah, and
cool.
it's so new. It is so new, man. Like the way the places this is going. I mean, I also work full time in the space, so to speak, too.
Okay.
And it's not around collectibles. The number one use of NFTs is actually in games. And when you dig in deeper, um, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll send you some links afterwards that you
Okay.
can check out. But there's misconceptions. Most of the mass media is just covering the surface level about the dollar amounts and not about like the usability amounts. And when you start seeing where it's going, it gives me the goosebumps like every time. I'm like, holy shit, this is way bigger than what we can possibly imagine. It's not just about collectibles. It's not about art. It's not about just pumps and dumps and like it's more about like actually creating stores of value within communities and being able to leverage those and yeah, take out all the shitty middlemen that have like screwed up communities in the past and allow us to make our own decisions and
Yeah,
provide direct value to our the people we love and the people we want to hang out with. And yeah, it's really crazy where it's going.
it's like it's kind of like a. I've been listening to podcasts a lot lately too. Like I have a lot of shows I listen to, but they talk about in a similar way how they actually don't need like managers or agents in a way. They could just go directly to the consumer and they could just give them their pieces and stuff. They don't have to go through the middleman.
No, I totally agree with you. I was gonna say that it feels like it's inclusion versus exclusion, and you
Yeah,
see that with like major brands where they're like they like they might have like a marketing person or something, um, right? Be like, hey, what's your favorite flavor of Doritos? Like, leave it in the comments below, like some shit like that.
I do
But
love
then it's
Curio.
like for sure. But like if you give them like an idea and they use it, like what do you get out of that experience? You get
Yeah,
fucking nothing. You might get a coupon. But in like NFT land, if what happens, you'll get hooked up. You'll get free NFTs. You'll get free art in the mail. You get to
yeah,
have like, you get to like build something with your content. Like I'm sure when Christie's hits and people start Googling Curio cards, what your video is going to be like, bam, like right up there. So you get value right off of that. So
yeah,
it's different than the traditional model of like, basically like serving the corporation and being like, hey, like I have an idea, and they're like, cool idea, we're going to take it from you and make all this money, and you get absolutely nothing. You might get it like a gift card or like, swag bag or like a Doritos hat or something.
and it's
But
not coming from, and it's not coming from like the owner person. It's like what you said, it's like a marketing manager. Like it's actually coming from the person like sending out the stuff instead of
for sure, for sure.
like a third party.
Yeah, it's just
Was
it's
it?
a yeah.
Oh no, go
Go
on.
ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say so consumers in these communities, in these new communities, can take on more roles. So like if you look at like what Crypto Lurker is doing, she's an incredible community supporter. She does like talks, she's done those Twitter spaces, she's done interviews and content and now she's involved with a DAO. So it's like basically like the roles of people that were once kind of like subjects of corporations are now, or consumers of corporations can now take on multiple identities and multiple roles. But those old structures can't support that. It's these new structures and these new types of communities where like, hey, if you want to do this thing, you just start doing it. and that's how you extract value because people see it and they like, they either tip you or they give you a job or they like, they it's there's no barriers to entry. If I'm like, hey guys, I'm marketing for Doritos now, they're going to be like, fuck off, and like probably like threaten to sue you or something, like.
Uh, I think it,
So
yeah,
it's
it is a special time too. Like everyone, it's like creativity's at its all-time high. Like I could create my own show. I don't have to talk to anyone. I could just create my own show and post it on the internet. Like the
yeah,
internet,
you don't
it's
yeah.
a crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah, you don't have to ask for permission anymore, especially with crypto stuff. You
Yeah.
can extend the functionality, add value where you want, don't add value where you don't want. It's a very different. The decentralized models for building community is just yeah, my favoriteest thing to talk about and to engage with for sure.
You uh do you have like another favorite? Are you a fan of like another Curio card in particular? Like do you like I know they're most of them are your friends possibly, but do you have a favorite card? Another one besides yours?
I really don't, man. I wish I did. It's kind of a, oh man, my favorite. I mean, I think Robeck's my favorite artist.
Oh yes,
Just not, yeah, not
I've heard a
just
lot
because
about
he's like not because he's the biggest holder, but because he owns like, 100 of my, more than 100 of my 29s or whatever.
them.
Um, but no, he's my favorite artist because of his community engagement. So it's like asking, it's kind of like, which of these surface level things do you like? I'm like, I like more the context. I look at things more like, oh, well, I like this person, um, and so I can't look at like the shape and the form because they represent so many different things.
Okay.
They all represent so many different things. I like, Philippe. I like crypto pop. I like when you get to know him, you see there's so much represented behind the works. But as far as artists go, definitely Robeck. I love Daniel. He's like a true philosopher king. You got to look into his stuff and what he says. He's a fucking genius. He's awesome. Um, yeah, also up here in NorCal too.
And I know all my I have cousins out in Temecula, like south. That's the only thing I have going on in California right now.
Oh man, you got to take a road trip out here and see what it's all about when it starts when the fires stop
Oh man,
burning. It's
yeah, I hope you're doing okay. By the way, I heard those fires. We could even the smoke's been here crazy in Idaho.
oh man, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah, we're hanging in there.
Besides the curio cards, is there like another specific work of art that you admire the most?
Um,
Not to put you on the spot, sorry.
yeah, I'd have to think about that. That's a hard one. Um,
What's your favorite style of art?
well, like the social type of art, like I really like the latest Damien Hirst series. Like really like it. Like it's fucking awesome. So it was like like he invites the consumer of his art to pick whether they want an original or they want the NFT. And if they go for the NFT, they destroy the original. And then
Okay.
you look at the process of how he made the originals, and he had literally like a warehouse of people like making these dot paintings,
Mhm.
and then you know took them to someone or another group of people, and they like scored them based on a metric. So then it like introduces scarcity and anyway, yeah. And I think also if you buy the original, they destroy the NFT, and so it's kind of like it's a solution for me, and I've looked at these different solutions over the last few years of like how to um, where that makes sense. Where does the NFT with the original article make sense? And he fucking crushes it. He's awesome. So he's kind of like one of my favorite artists of all time anyway, but that just is like, whoa, like this is thought out. It's kind of that he's taking it to a whole nother level of like four-dimensional chess.
Oh,
Um, and yeah, and it's like he engages people and creates a community around it, and he's doing everything, you know, doing everything right.
yeah, the art. I'm really new to the art community. Like I only know like I guess would like you would say like the big names, like Da Vinci and stuff, like way back. Like I like to like learn more about like the art community, like artists around. So I'm sure there's a lot of great artists in Idaho I don't even know about.
Oh, there's probably so many. Yeah, you just got to go to some art shows and like eat their free cheese and drink their free wine. And if they do that stuff, I see they seem pretty cool out there. I bet they're still doing like things in public and
Yeah, the Boise. I live in Nampa, but I'm like half hour from Boise, and they're like we're growing pretty big. People are like we like to say like we're like the next Portland. They just keep growing and like just
nice.
the style and stuff. Um, what's oh yeah, by the way, on the like how you're anonymous at the time, do another do other anonymous artists come out to you and like ask for advice or vice versa? Is there like a whole group like
Um,
that?
I haven't had a lot of people come up to me in that regard. I decided to be a little more public about it because I realized there was a licensing dilemma if I
Oh,
didn't didn't get ownership of it and claim ownership over the brand. Um, and so that's why I did it. I also I've been licensing typography, so I've been making fonts for a long time,
oh
from
wow.
2012, and then I kind of like I took a break making them um, about 3 years ago. So I've been making them for a while, but I license them every day. So like it's a perpetual like stream of people wanting to use them on projects, and I think I have over like 100 million downloads on them or something now.
Wow.
But anyway, it's insane. You can check them out too. You just search my name, you'll see
Okay.
them out there. But so I realized that when you have IP or you make IP, that is there's different types, but when you make like artistic intellectual property, you get to decide where it goes and where it doesn't go, and you have complete control over that. And that's something that's like the laws, as much as people disagree with them generally, the ones around copyright are really awesome. Like you can
Okay.
tell someone to like stop using stuff, and then there's recourse for that if they don't listen to you. So I really want to make sure that I want Marisol in certain things. I don't want in other things. I don't want to have like a general license that can cause problems. Examples include like this one time, this large alcohol company wanted to buy my font,
Hmm.
and I fundamentally disagreed with their advertising. I fundamentally disagreed with their product. They killed millions of people through their product. So I said, yeah, if you want to use it, you have to pay like a lot, like six figures. And they're like, oh no, that's way too much. I'm like, all right, well, fuck off. And then sometimes they've already used it, and then the price is even more. So like, there's cases where, um, and I can't be too, this one I can't really talk too much about,
Yeah,
but
no worries.
there's a nonprofit that used it on their campaign, huge nonprofit, and it was about I gotta be so careful here. It
No
was
worries.
about like the thing they were telling people was connecting the consumer to the person that made this product, and um, they used my font in their the person who made the product, who is impoverished and poor, and then they had these like models and famous people holding up signs, and they're like showing kind of like how they're connected.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you guys can't use this. Like I never got paid for it. They're like, it's a nonprofit. And then I started digging into their business structure. It turns out they're like not good people. They're like shady as fuck. And so I'm like, and they also start giving away my font as like print it out and use this font for free. And I'm like, no, no, you guys are turning it into an open source product. And I have other open source products, but this one is something I want to sell, and I don't want it to be used in activism specifically. And so we settled eventually because the damage is already done, like significant damage to the brand. So I learned about you have to defend your property. At some point, I'm probably not going to care, but I know that like if if my brand of Marisol is used in an inappropriate context, I want to have recourse. So I don't want to have like a blanket statement like everyone can use it whatever you want. Like I just so I'm sensitive to it as a an artist that's gotten like ridiculous amounts of exposure with just the fonts. I mean, I go in the supermarket and I see them on products. Like it's that scale of
Wow.
like, yeah, it's pretty insane, man.
Have you ever thought of, or have you already done it? Have you kind of like done a portrait of what your anonymous could look like Marisol and all that?
Um, I've had some ideas around that, but mostly around like actors who would go to the shows and stuff. But I
Okay.
never did it. It was too involved. But yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. Definitely, I'll take that more into consideration.
Have you ever been starstruck by anyone that you give a painting to or artwork?
I mean, I was kind of blown away that Gary Vee got a bunch of those pieces. I'm like, holy shit, he's like a famous person, like owns my shit. There's probably some others we don't know about. I'm just
Yeah,
assuming now,
true.
but yeah, yeah, I'm kind of tripped out by it. I've had some meetings recently with people that are um, very societally influential that no one knows about, and I'm
Yeah,
like, holy shit, like that's fucking like I'm starstruck. I'm like, I've met with some amazing, amazing people that do big things, but they stay, they're working. They're not like saying how cool they are. So,
yeah. And I'm
so
sure that's a nice experience too. Like, okay, these people are actually,
that,
they're not big heads, I guess.
there's, it's cool to have like OGs in the, crypto space, like, oh yeah, I've been following your shit for years. It's cool to see that you like, you finally got, you got, some publicity for your stuff. And like, so yeah, there's surprises, man.
That's what I like. As we're talking, that's what I've been noticing. Like with you, like you just seem like you're a nice, genuine, humble person. You're not trying to make. I don't know, just like you just seem nice. That's like the best I
Thanks,
can.
man. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Um, I guess with and then with Marisol, I noticed you you posted you kind of have a new uh identity that you're gonna try out or anonymous of the I believe you had a painting that it's gonna be
Yeah,
a new
yeah,
line.
yeah, yeah. So I have, oh man, there's so many identities. There's probably like a dozen ones that I've worked on since 2006, 2007, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Some of them started. But yeah, there's the one that I'm like focusing on right now, and I've only kind of like exclusively working on is Natoshi Sakamoto. And I've done some like I on my Wax NFTs, I've released some of those on there as Marisol Vengas collabs.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's just like one piece I released, and there's like different shades of it, different colors. And with that, I did one piece. It's pretty big. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Heck yeah.
So you can kind of see it. It's like,
Wow.
it's like, yeah, it's pretty big. There's a stripe. And then, but I want to show you, it's not necessarily about the content. It's cool. There's like glitter and drips as I say. But on the back, it's hard to read, but there's a scratcher ticket right here. And it says scratch this to claim NFTs.
Oh wow.
And so there's 20 free NFTs that whoever owns gets this piece will get a hold
Wow.
of. And it's all on chain too. There's a verification of authenticity, and then you can see the full set of the NFTs. So yeah, this one's from June. I'm just finishing up some touches on it, and it's good to go. Um, but yeah, so I'm doing a lot of like stuff on that series, and there's some community members that I've like already distributed those to, and there's very few of those pieces. Like because I like I said, I'm not making products. I'm more just kind of going through my own experience with the art. So yeah, it's pretty fun, man. But other than that, yeah, I will be. I'm starting like a series 7 of the Marisol pieces, and all those announcements will come probably in the next month and maybe a few days after that or so. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. Do you with pieces too, do you like start and finish them or do you like start one, come back to one, start another one or
I do them all in kind of parallel, so I don't do one at a time. I think serially. So, and also I think kind of like algorithmically too. Like I'm not particularly interested in doing like a one-off. They're all kind of there's a theme with them. Um, and yeah, so yeah, that's just my process. But and I'm also thinking like, how could a machine make this for me in the future too? So
have you ever gotten like really far in the product, like the finished piece, and then you just scratch it, like you just throw it away.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you an example. I was doing this series that was like a very naive, intentionally looking naive, called Houses and Clouds. And with that series, I it's basically like a bunch of like buildings and houses, and I like draw them out by hand, and then I'd make prints out of those, and like, um, and it had like some messaging in there. I don't necessarily need to get into, but um, it was like something that everyone's like, this is cute, but then after a while, when they think about what it is, it's like super fucked up. So I put a secret message in it when they start digging more into the context about what it represents. So it's like a vector for this idea, or like a way to transmit this idea. And then I found out that I didn't even have to draw it. I could just use pictures from like Google image search, and I could just stack them and like modify them a certain way. And I'm like, oh well, fuck, I just wasted. It wasn't like a wasted time, but it was like I realized like I didn't have to do it in this one way I thought I had to do it. If that makes sense. Like I thought I had to do it a very structured way. I had to do it for my own hand.
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh no, wait, I can still get these ideas across. I should have been like thought about the idea first and then pick the medium, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, like pick the way to do it rather than just like, how do I fit it into this, fit it into the medium. So,
Yeah. Well, that's great though. Like I really like once again, I really appreciate you coming out and taking your time because you. I'm pretty sure like with everything going on now, like you're way more busier than you even were before, and you probably were already busy. It's like
oh yeah, things are fucking crazy, man, for sure.
that's cool, man. I can't. One day I can't wait to have my schedule just filled and just going 100 miles per hour. Do you ever have free time usually? Or you
Yeah,
ever take
yeah.
like big like how does I guess like a work week too? Do you I'm sure you like make your own hours, but do you ever like take time for yourself every now and then?
Yeah, for sure. Every morning I go for walks, and
Okay.
yeah, I space it out. I'm pretty efficient, so I can sit down and bust something out. And but yeah, so many meetings now, and yeah, I just have a lot more obligations these days. But yeah, Curio cards like kind of like an extra, like like man, like this is kind of like the like an unexpected job almost, but it's not a job. It's like most unexpected non-job, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's taking up a couple hours a week, and I'm like, I got the bandwidth for it. I'm already pretty effective with my day-to-day stuff. So
Do you listen
um,
to music a lot too while you paint, or do you
yeah, yeah, I mostly listen to like stuff on SoundCloud, electronic stuff.
okay.
Um, yeah, yeah, it's yeah, I got some pretty dope stereos, so I love like
Anyone
the
anyone you've
bass
been
music.
um liking a lot so far? Artist?
By name, I'm not necessarily. I could send you my playlist on there. There's some good
Okay.
stuff. If you got like a nice stereo, you'll appreciate it. Sounds dope. It's all like
Was
really well like overproduced, like samples and shit like that. So
was it cool seeing like Steve Aoki and like them like getting into the NFT spaces and all that?
oh God, I love that. That's so cool. See, yeah, they're taking it to another dimension for sure. Yeah.
It's yeah, all this stuff is pretty mind blowing right now.
Oh, it's gonna get crazier, man. Holy shit. Yeah, mostly I'm focusing on those those DAOs, decentralized autonomous communities, and like and basically like how communities can like hold their own stores of value, how they can like kind of regain power, produce things of power. Um, Once again, take out all the middlemen that don't meet their needs, so we can focus on meeting our community needs and not relying on other central authorities for that. So yeah, I think there's dude, we've just seen like just the beginning of it. It's kind of like we made all these pipes in the city. We made all these like, um, and now we're starting to build the foundation, and we're just putting
Okay.
like the fluids through the pipes. They just happen to be like NFTs and crypto and like, like, but it's gonna get crazier. It'll be like, um, the city will be very interesting, whatever we end up building out of this stuff.
Do you feel like where we're at now is how you were into Bitcoin early? Like you just seems like nothing too crazy right now. Like obviously
Yeah,
there's some
yeah.
heads turning, but like we're still in the early stages.
Yeah, it feels that way. I mean, I've been working on like NFT products for um, almost 2 years now with some
Okay.
other projects, And even then we're like, are we crazy or is this going to be a thing? And like now I'm like, oh no, no, we're not crazy. Like this is the thing. Like people are going to like use this in every day to day, like all like um, pretty much like I think like all like coupons and all like event tickets, all these things will be NFTs. Like all these like receipts and stuff and like
That's so crazy.
like all that stuff is going there for sure.
Uh,
But
well,
it's early as fuck for sure.
well, I won't take any more of your time. I think we're reaching about like an hour.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, thank you for coming on too. I like your shit coins. I call my listeners shitheads. That's what time.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'll
But
have to figure out how to package those up and send them to Ethereum because BitShares is one of the first blockchains that was actually did something. So on the front end, there's like an exchange and you can make your own coins, but on the back end was the blockchain. So it's really profound stuff there. Yeah.
and all the making the wallets and stuff now, like just so much to it. But it's fun. It's really fun to get into it.
Oh
Any
man.
and like any other advice too for people just barely get into NFTs, like uh,
Yes, I got some good advice. Don't think technology or NFTs are going to like save you for like or make you successful or any of that. Just think about like how you can amplify engagement with your existing sphere of people, with all the people that you're close with. So go to like search wax NFTs with Atomic Hub. You can mint them on there almost for free, and you can start giving them out to people as gifts, get them excited about it.
hmm,
Just start there. Don't think of it as like a get rich thing. Literally just use them for like, someone buys art from you, give them an NFT also. If someone, like it says something nice to you or like compliments you, give them an NFT. Like just do basic engagement with it and see where it goes. Your community might say fuck this and like never talk to you again, but they might be into it too. Anyway,
yeah.
use it to use NFTs to amplify your community. Don't use them to primarily just try to get rich because that shit ain't gonna happen.
And if you base your stuff on that, then you're just gonna destroy yourself probably, or just fill
Oh
your
yeah.
head with too much stuff. Be stressing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But thank you for coming on. Anything too like you like to plug or like get anything out there?
I don't think so. I think I'm just, yeah, just come. Well, okay, I'll plug this. Come to the Cured Card Discord.
Yeah.
Pop in the Marisol Vengas channel and say what's up. And yeah, just I'm like always dropping gifts and NFTs in there. So like, I just love giving shit away. I've always done that with my regular art process. So nothing new. But yeah, just come in and get some free shit and kick it and say what's up.
Yeah. Like I said, this piece right here is gonna be always dear to me now since this is my first NFT. So and now it's awesome that I'm talking to the guy that created it. So
Dude, I can't believe it. Those are worth a shitload too. Congrats on that. That's awesome. That's
I
such a good
was
thing to have.
it was a crazy birthday present.
That's amazing, dude. Oh man, I'm always
But
gonna remember that.
and I'll make sure to maybe you might hit up the watch party on October 1st on the Discord maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about going to the event, but we'll see. We'll see
Oh well,
where we're at.
yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be more badass.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, thank you, Max. Hope you stay safe out there too with the fires, and hopefully that comes down. Um,
Awesome, man.
but thank
Awesome.
you for coming on, and hope you have a good day.
Take it easy, man.
All
See
right,
you
see
soon.
ya.
Okay. Bye.